For a long time, Batman and Superman held the top spots as the most iconic comic book superheroes to make it to the big screen. But sooner or later, every realm sees strong contenders arrive to challenge the throne. That's exactly what happened when Spider-Man, a creation of Marvel, burst into the film industry. For nearly half a century, Spider-Man had been a fierce rival to DC Comics on the pages of comic books. But it was time for cinematic triumph. In 2002, the Spider-Man movie hit theaters, and its box office numbers left both Superman and Batman in the dust. And in this video, I'll tell you the story of how this massively successful film was made. But let's start from the beginning. In 1967, the ABC television network launched the animated series Spider-Man. It became quite popular and ran for 3 full seasons. After that, Spidey would occasionally appear in various animated shows, but no major standalone project came to life. Much later, in 1994, Marvel Films Animation released a new Spider-Man cartoon. With a large budget and a solid script, it aired on Fox Kids and scored very high ratings. The first live-action Spider-Man film came out in 1977 and kicked off a classic trilogy, followed by Spider-Man Strikes Back and Spider-Man: The Dragon's Challenge. Directed by E.W. Swackamer, the trilogy starred actor and writer Nicholas Hammond. Audiences were intrigued, and the film performed well at the box office and in VHS sales, especially by the standards of the time. Over 20 years later, in 2002, a brand new Spider-Man movie was released. Directed by American filmmaker Sam Raimi, the film cast Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man and Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. The movie received high praise from both audiences and critics. The latter especially praised the cinematography, solid script, and strong performances. Unlike Tim Burton, who created the fictional Gotham City for Batman, Raimi couldn't just invent a city from scratch. New York is not Gotham. It's real, well known both in the US and worldwide. Yet simply dropping Spider-Man into the real NYC wouldn't work. The contrast between a magical character and a gritty metropolis would have been too jarring. So Raimi and his production designer Neil Spisak aimed for a middle ground, something between the stylized, moody Gotham and the real New York. The Spider-Man version of New York looks authentic, but includes stylized, visually enhanced details. Real buildings were carefully filmed in the most flattering lighting, much like a wedding photographer choosing the best angles and moments. Filming in Times Square, where Spider-Man first fights the Green Goblin, was especially difficult. Negotiations to shoot there began early in production, and in the end, they were allowed to film only a few establishing shots to prove to viewers they were indeed in NYC. The action scenes were shot on a massive set built at Sony Studios in California, including a 3-story building facade that the Goblin destroys. Tragically, a worker died during construction, and the studio was fined $59,000 for safety violations. When Raimi signed on to direct Spider-Man, he had no idea how to shoot the web-slinging scenes. He feared they'd need cranes and wires constantly. But visual effects legend John Dykstra, co-founder of Industrial Light and Magic and pioneer of Star Wars VFX, convinced him that the hardest scenes could be done with CG. A digital Spider-Man could perform stunts too dangerous for a real stuntman or actor. And so it was decided. The visual effects were groundbreaking for their time, though today they're easily recognized as CGI. Still, it's not a big issue. Raimi skillfully blended practical and digital effects, using wide or shadowed shots to hide the seams. Even when CGI is obvious, it contributes to the nostalgic 2000s charm. The practical effects, on the other hand, are still impressive today. A real spider, painted red and blue, crawled on Maguire's hand, suspended on synthetic webbing. The smoke during the serum test wasn't green but white. Green smoke would have been toxic, so the color was changed in post. The Goblin's glider really shot out up to 6 bombs via a pump mechanism activated by the crew. His trident was rubber, and the pumpkin bombs truly began their countdown with flashing lights and beeping sounds. Most explosions were real. Stunt performers weren't afraid to take risks, including Parker's failed jump. In the climax, Maguire and Dunst were actually suspended by wires, with Tobey holding on to 2 thick ropes. The festival building facade and the balcony that exploded were built full scale. In the final battle, the Goblin tore through a real web prop. The makeup for both Spider-Man and the Goblin in that final fight was incredibly convincing. Raimi never quite topped it in the sequels. The cinematography is striking, a vital trait for superhero films. There's a great balance of wide, medium, and close shots, with beautiful lighting in every scene. The action is thrilling. Slow motion highlights key moments, punches land with weight, and destruction looks real thanks to practical effects. In Spider-Man films, it's crucial to capture the hero's agility and acrobatics. Success often comes down to the number of diagonal lines in his silhouette, from bent backs and limbs to the curve of fingers and feet. Body language here isn't always remarkable, but it's present. There are at least 3 great poses worth mentioning. Filming took place from January to June 2001. Production was slowed by multiple relocations between LA and NYC, along with the usual issues. During post-production, the September 11 attacks happened. Some scenes had to be reshot or edited to remove the Twin Towers. At first, it seemed Americans wouldn't want to watch a superhero movie set in New York after such tragedy. But when Spider-Man premiered on May 3, 2002, New Yorkers embraced it with heart. The movie celebrated not just a hero, but the spirit of people uniting against madness. That message resonated powerfully. Plus, the fantasy element offered welcome escapism. Spider-Man made $100 million in just 3 days, a record back then. Globally, it earned $821 million, ranking as the 3rd highest-grossing film of 2002, behind only The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. In the US and Canada, however, Spider-Man outperformed both. The others pulled ahead thanks to international markets where Spider-Man was less known and less anticipated. Today, the CGI might feel dated, but Spider-Man remains a fantastic superhero movie, a genre-defining hit that influenced the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Naturally, a sequel was inevitable, but that's a story for another time. That's all for me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated with new videos. And check out the playlist full of behind-the-scenes movie stories. There's something there for everyone. See you next time.